The Varaxian Empire's massive flagship hovered silently in Earth's orbit. Commander Noval stood tall on the bridge, his scaled skin reflecting the soft blue light of the control panels. For centuries, his species had conquered worlds with ease. Earth would be their 18th conquest. "Begin the extraction," Noval ordered, voice cool and deliberate. Below on Earth, in a remote research station nestled between mountains, 12 humans worked through the night. The facility appeared ordinary, a cluster of white buildings with satellite dishes pointing skyward. Inside the main laboratory, Ji-yoon analyzed data on her computer. Her dark hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail, her expression focused as she studied atmospheric readings. "Something strange tonight," she said to Tae-ho, who worked nearby. "The upper atmosphere shows unusual disturbances." Tae-ho nodded but didn't seem surprised. He checked his watch. "It's time. They're coming." The other researchers gathered in the central room. No one spoke. No one showed fear. They simply waited. The first sign was a humming that vibrated through the walls. Then came the light's bright beams cutting through windows and ceiling as if searching. The power failed. Emergency lights bathed everyone in red. "Remember your training," Ji-yoon said quietly. The roof peeled away like the lid of a can. Above them hovered a Varaxian transport ship, its underside glowing with strange symbols. Gravity seemed to reverse. Researchers began floating upward, pulled by an invisible force. Tae-ho caught Ji-yoon's eye as they rose. They exchanged small nods. Aboard the Varaxian ship, armored soldiers waited as the humans were deposited onto the deck. The aliens stood nearly 7 feet tall, with bodies covered in scales ranging from blue to green. Their eyes, 3 per face, blinked from different directions. "Contain them," ordered Tekka, the science officer. Her scales were lighter than the others, almost teal. The soldiers surrounded the humans, weapons ready. They expected screaming, panic, attempts to flee. Instead, the humans stood calmly, observing their captors with evident curiosity. "You speak our language?" Ji-yoon asked Tekka directly, surprising the alien. "We speak all languages," Tekka responded after a pause. "How are you so calm?" Ji-yoon simply smiled. The humans were separated and placed in individual cells, transparent cubes that floated in a larger chamber. Junior researcher Moki, the youngest Varaxian aboard, was assigned to monitor them. Moki watched the human named Hyunwoo with particular interest. Unlike prisoners from other worlds, this human didn't pace, didn't cry, didn't bang against the walls. Instead, he sat cross-legged, eyes closed, breathing steady. "What are you doing?" Moki asked through the communication system. "Meditating," Hyunwoo answered without opening his eyes. "You should try it sometime." Moki recorded unusual readings in the human's brain activity. There seemed to be patterns, almost like signals. He reported his findings to Tekka. "Impossible," she said. "They have no technology on them. We scanned thoroughly." Yet the readings persisted across all human subjects. Commander Noval summoned Ji-yoon to the bridge for the first formal interrogation. The human woman stood before the massive viewport showing Earth below, her home world looking small and vulnerable. "Your species is primitive," Noval stated. "You've barely touched your neighboring planet. You fight among yourselves. You pollute your atmosphere. Why should we consider you anything but simple animals to be managed?" Ji-yoon studied the commander's face. "Perhaps that's exactly what we wanted you to think." Something in her tone made Noval's scales flatten slightly, the Varaxian equivalent of a frown. "Explain." "You see what's on the surface," Ji-yoon said. "That's your first mistake." Before Noval could respond, an alarm sounded. A junior officer approached quickly. "Commander, our systems detect unusual activity in Earth's upper atmosphere. Something is scanning us." "Impossible," Noval snapped. "Their technology is centuries behind ours." Ji-yoon's slight smile caught Noval's attention. "What did you do?" he demanded. "We did nothing," she answered. "But perhaps you should wonder why we showed no fear when you took us." Perhaps you should ask yourself why we seem so prepared. For the first time in his long military career, Commander Noval felt an unfamiliar sensation spreading through his body. The humans weren't cowering. They weren't begging. They were watching, studying, as if the Varaxians were the specimens. In the monitoring room, Moki noticed something else strange. The brain patterns of all 12 humans had synchronized perfectly, pulsing in a rhythm that matched no known biological function. The humans were communicating. And whatever they were saying to each other, it wasn't in fear. It was in preparation. The Varaxian ship hummed as it orbited Earth, its massive engines barely audible inside. 5 days had passed since the humans were brought aboard. The aliens had expected to study frightened specimens. Instead, they found themselves increasingly uneasy around their captives. Interrogator Vex sat across from Hyunwoo in the questioning chamber. The room was designed to intimidate: dark metal walls, harsh lighting, and a single table between them. Vex's yellow eyes narrowed as he studied the human. "Explain your planet's defense systems," Vex demanded. Hyunwoo leaned forward, completely relaxed. "We have militaries, like most developing worlds." "Nothing that would interest you." "You're lying," Vex hissed, his scales darkening with frustration. "Am I?" Hyunwoo smiled. "Let me ask you something instead. How long have your ship's engines been operating at only 80% efficiency?" Vex froze. This information was classified. "How did you know that?" he asked. "The vibration frequency. It's inconsistent." Hyunwoo shrugged. "Your plasma containment could use an upgrade." Later that day, Security Chief Drell approached Commander Noval on the bridge. Her normally smooth scales were raised in alarm. "The humans are requesting access to different sections of the ship," Drell reported. "For educational purposes, they claim." Noval considered this. "Deny them." "I already did, Commander. But since then, our internal sensors show unusual power fluctuations. Almost as if someone is testing our systems," Noval finished. Across the ship, Sunmi was being escorted back to her cell after another questioning session. She stopped suddenly, examining a control panel on the wall. "Your ship's beautiful," she told her guard. "This junction connects life support to the main power grid?" The guard pulled her away. "Move along, human." "You should reinforce that connection," Sunmi added. "A single failure there would be catastrophic." The guard reported this exchange to Tekka immediately. In the science lab, Moki continued monitoring the humans' neural patterns. Something strange was happening. When the humans were separated, their brainwaves showed coordinated patterns, as if they were communicating despite being apart. "They shouldn't be able to do this," Moki whispered to himself. He pulled up recordings from the ship's cameras. In different cells, at the exact same time, all 12 humans had briefly touched the walls of their containers in identical places. The coincidence was impossible. That evening, the humans were allowed to eat together under heavy guard. The Varaxians watched them closely. The humans spoke quietly among themselves, occasionally glancing at their captors. "They're studying us," Drell told Noval as they observed through a one-way viewing panel. "The way they look at our technology, our physiology, it's like they're collecting data." "They are primitive beings," Noval insisted, but his voice lacked conviction. Later, Ji-Eun requested a meeting with Commander Noval. In the command center, she stood confidently before the alien leader. "My people are growing bored," she stated simply. "We would like access to your ship's library." "Denied," Noval responded immediately. Ji-Eun tilted her head. "That's unfortunate. You must be wondering why we're so calm, why we ask so many questions." "You are prisoners," Noval reminded her. "Not guests." "Are we?" Ji-Eun smiled. "Your sensors have been detecting unauthorized access attempts, haven't they? Strange equipment malfunctions? Unexplained communications?" Noval's scales flattened against his body, a sign of stress. "How could you know this?" Before Ji-Eun could answer, alarms blared throughout the ship. A junior officer rushed in. Commander! Our long-range communications array just went offline. Noval turned to Jiun, suspicion flooding his three eyes. What have you done? Nothing, she answered calmly. Perhaps your systems need maintenance. As Jiun was escorted back to her cell, Moki made a breakthrough in his research. He rushed to find Tekka, clutching his datapad. The humans have implants, he said breathlessly. Microscopic. Our initial scans missed them. They're embedded in their brainstems, undetectable unless you know exactly what to look for. Tekka took the pad, eyes widening. This technology, it's beyond anything we've seen. There's more, Moki continued. The implants are quantum linked. They're not just communicating with each other, they're communicating with something on Earth. Across the ship, Taeho sat in his cell, eyes closed. The guard watching him shifted uncomfortably. The human hadn't moved for hours, yet his vital signs showed he was fully alert. Suddenly, Taeho opened his eyes and looked directly at the guard. Your ship's database has interesting information about the 17 worlds you've conquered, he said conversationally. Your species has a pattern. Always the same approach. Always the same mistakes. The guard's scales bristled. How could you access our database? Taeho just smiled. In the command center, Noval stared at the view of Earth below. For the first time in his military career, he felt something unfamiliar, doubt. These humans showed no fear. They asked questions. They noticed things they shouldn't understand. It was as if they were the observers, and the Varaxians were being observed. Commander Noval paced on the bridge, his clawed feet clicking against the metal floor. The situation had grown worse. Ship systems were failing at an alarming rate, communications, weapons targeting, even some life support sectors. The Varaxian crew worked frantically to fix each problem, but new ones appeared constantly. Bring them all here, Noval ordered. Now. Guards escorted the 12 humans to the bridge. Despite being prisoners for over a week, they looked rested and alert. Jiun led the group, her eyes taking in every detail of the command center. Your ship is having technical difficulties, she remarked calmly. Noval slammed his fist on a control panel. What have you done to my ship? How are you doing this without technology? Taeho stepped forward. We should talk honestly now, Commander. This charade has gone on long enough. The bridge fell silent. Even the working Varaxian crew stopped to listen. You believe you discovered Earth, Taeho continued. That you found a primitive species ready for conquest. But the truth is simpler, we've known about you for a very long time. Tekka moved closer, her scientific curiosity overcoming her caution. Impossible. Your world shows no sign of advanced technology. Your satellites are basic. Your space exploration rudimentary. Hyunwoo smiled. What better way to avoid notice? The greatest advantage in any conflict is to be underestimated. Sunmi joined the conversation. We detected your empire's expansion 27 years ago. We watched as you took the Centauri system. We intercepted your communications. We studied your technology. Noval's scales changed color with shock. You expect me to believe humans have such capabilities? You haven't even left your own solar system. Not visibly, Jiun corrected. Your people see what they expect to see, a divided planet of squabbling nations barely reaching their moon. Just then, Moki burst onto the bridge, clutching a scanning device. His scales were pale with excitement or fear, perhaps both. Commander! I've confirmed it, he said breathlessly. The humans have neural implants. Advanced technology beyond anything in our database. Moki projected his findings onto the main view screen. The images showed microscopic devices embedded at the base of each human skull. The implants create a networked consciousness, Moki explained. They can communicate without speaking. They can interface with technology without physical contact. Noval turned to the humans, his three eyes blinking rapidly. Who are you really? Ji-un stepped forward. We are Sentinels. Earth's first line of defense against extraterrestrial threats. For generations, humanity debated how to approach first contact, Taeho added. Some wanted open communication. Others feared invasion. In the end, we chose a third path, to watch and wait from the shadows. While the world's nations appeared divided publicly, we united in secret, Sunmi explained. The best minds, the most skilled operators, all working together beneath the notice of watching eyes from above. Hyunwoo picked up the story. We developed technology that could hide from scanning. We built defenses that appear as natural formations. We created ships that can travel undetected. And we planted sentinel outposts, Ji-un finished. Small groups of trained specialists ready to make contact when necessary. You let us capture you, Noval realized, his voice barely audible. Yes, Ji-un nodded. What better way to learn about your species than to be brought aboard your flagship? A junior officer interrupted, panic clear in his voice. Commander! We're detecting massive energy signatures from Earth's surface. Weapons are powering up worldwide. The main screen changed to show Earth below. Across the planet's surface, hidden installations were activating defense systems previously invisible to Varaxian scans. That's impossible, Tekka whispered. We scanned the entire planet. And saw what we wanted you to see, Ji-un said simply. Noval backed away from the humans, finally understanding the trap his fleet had entered. Your outpost. The ease of capture. Your calm demeanor. This was planned. From the moment your ships entered our solar system, Taeho confirmed. Each question we asked, Sunmi added, each system we discussed, we were gathering final intelligence. The neural implants aren't just for communication, Moki realized suddenly. They've been interfacing with our ship this entire time. Hyunwoo smiled at the young scientist. Very good. Your systems were compromised the moment we came aboard. On the view screen, more activations appeared across Earth's surface. Defense platforms rose from oceans. Mountain ranges opened to reveal massive weapon arrays. All aimed at the Varaxian fleet. Now, Ji-un said calmly, meeting Noval's gaze, I believe it's time for proper negotiations. Between equals. For the first time in the history of the Varaxian Empire, they faced a species that had seen them coming and smiled. Commander Noval's scales had turned a pale blue, a sign of extreme stress among Varaxians. The bridge of his flagship was eerily quiet as everyone processed what they had just learned. The supposedly primitive humans had not only anticipated their arrival but had planned their own capture. This is a bluff, Noval declared, finding his voice again. Earth has no unified government, no global defense system. Our intelligence is thorough. Ji-un smiled patiently. Your intelligence sees what we want it to see. Just as your scanners do. Noval turned to his weapons officer. Target their largest cities. Prepare orbital bombardment. The weapons officer worked at his station, then looked up with confusion. Commander, the targeting systems are not responding. Fix it. Noval shouted. Taeho stepped forward. Your weapons won't work, Commander. Neither will your engines if you try to move the ship. Your fleet is effectively disabled. Impossible. Tekka exclaimed. No external force could bypass our shields to affect our systems. Not external, Sunmi explained, tapping her temple lightly. We've been inside your systems since you brought us aboard. Our neural implants interface directly with technology. As if to prove her point, the main view screen changed without anyone touching the controls. It showed a tactical display of the entire Varaxian fleet, 30 warships positioned around Earth. Half of the ships were highlighted in red. What is this? Noval demanded. A demonstration, Hyunwoo answered calmly. Watch. One by one, the red highlighted ships went dark. Their running lights flickered and died. Through the bridge windows, Noval could see the nearest support cruiser drifting, its engines offline. What have you done? Noval whispered. Isolated their power cores, Ji-un explained. Don't worry, life support remains functional. We're not murderers. Desperate now, Noval signaled his guards. Take them back to the cells. Separate them. The guards moved forward, but suddenly their armor locked up. They stood frozen, unable to move their limbs. That won't help, Tejo said. Our neural network doesn't depend on proximity. Moki, the young scientist, had been scanning the humans continuously. He looked up from his instruments with awe. Commander, the quantum link from their implants, it's connecting to something on Earth. The signal is massive. The viewscreen changed again, showing a new image that made every Varaxian on the bridge gasp. Beneath the oceans, massive structures were rising. From mountain ranges and deserts, hidden doors opened to reveal advanced weapon systems. The cloudy skies parted as energy shields activated around major population centers. For centuries, we prepared, Ji-un explained. We built our defenses where you wouldn't look. We developed technology that mimicked natural formations. Hyunwoo added, your empire has conquered 17 worlds because those worlds announced their technological achievements. They broadcast their capabilities. They built their defenses in plain sight. We learned from their mistakes, Sunmi said. A new alert sounded on the Varaxian command console. The sensor officer looked up in shock. Commander! Multiple objects approaching from Earth's moon. The viewscreen showed the dark side of the moon opening. From hidden bases emerged sleek vessels, unlike anything in the Varaxian database. They moved with impossible speed, taking positions around the disabled Varaxian ships. Our lunar fleet, Tejo explained. One of many we've positioned throughout our solar system. Noval sank into his command chair. His mighty invasion force, veterans of 17 successful conquests, had been neutralized without firing a single shot. You could destroy us all, he said quietly. Ji-un shook her head. If we wanted that, you would already be gone. This demonstration has a purpose beyond showing our strength. The humans exchanged glances, and Ji-un continued, in your 17 conquests, you followed the same pattern. You capture specimens, study them, then use their fear against them. You expect submission. But humans are different, Sunmi said. We don't fear the unknown, we prepare for it. Hyunwoo stepped closer to Noval. Your empire expands through conquest. You take what isn't freely given. We offer a different path, Tejo concluded. Outside the viewports, more human ships appeared. They took position around the flagship but made no aggressive moves. Their design was elegant, advanced, nothing like the primitive rockets the Varaxians had expected from Earth. We know about the challenges your empire faces, Ji-un said. The resource shortages. The rebellions on your outer worlds. The technological plateau you've reached. Noval looked up sharply. How could they know these internal matters? We've been watching for decades, she reminded him. And now, Commander Noval, you face a choice. Continue as conquerors and face a war you cannot win. Or begin a new chapter as allies, Tejo finished. For the first time in the history of the Varaxian Empire, they faced not just defeat, but a complete reversal of everything they understood about power in the galaxy. The Varaxian High Council chamber had never hosted aliens before. For centuries, representatives from conquered worlds came only as prisoners or servants. Today was different. 5 humans stood before the 17 council members, their presence changing everything the Empire understood about its place in the galaxy. Ji-un stepped forward, her simple black uniform bearing no rank or insignia. Behind her, Tejo, Sunmi, and Hyunwoo formed a semicircle. The 5th human, Min-ki, operated a small device that projected images into the center of the chamber. 3 weeks ago, your fleet entered our solar system with conquest in mind, Ji-un began. Today, we begin a different conversation. The head counselor, an ancient Varaxian named Draz, leaned forward. His scales had faded to pale green with age. Commander Noval's report is disturbing, Draz said. He claims your world hid its true capabilities. That you allowed yourselves to be captured. Yes, Ji-un confirmed simply. Why? Asked another counselor. If you possess such power, why not destroy our fleet when it approached? Taeho answered, because we studied your history. Your empire began 5 centuries ago when your world faced extinction from resource depletion. You expanded out of necessity, not cruelty. The counselors shifted uncomfortably. Few remembered this truth about their beginnings. Sunni activated the holographic display. It showed the Varaxian homeworld, once lush and beautiful, now stripped of resources, its population crowded into artificial habitats. Your pattern of conquest follows your needs, she explained. When one world is depleted, you seek another. But this approach has limits. Eventually, you will run out of worlds to conquer. What alternative do we have? Draz asked, anger mixing with curiosity in his voice. Hyunwoo stepped forward. Sustainability. Renewal. Partnership. Min-Ki changed the display. Now it showed Earth's history, centuries of wars, pollution, near collapse. We nearly destroyed ourselves too, Ji-Yoon explained. We fought over resources. We poisoned our world. We faced extinction by our own hand. Yet your world seems pristine now, a younger counselor noted. Because we changed, Taeho said. Not just our technology, but our thinking. We learned to rebuild rather than consume. To renew rather than discard. The display changed again, showing Earth's restored oceans, its green cities, its balanced use of resources. We offer this knowledge to the Varaxian Empire, Ji-Yoon said. Not as conquered subjects, but as allies. Draz's scales darkened with suspicion. Why would you help those who came to conquer you? Sunni smiled. Because there's something worse than the Varaxian Empire in our galaxy. Something that threatens us all. The display changed one final time. It showed readings from deep space, strange energy signatures moving between star systems. We call them the Void, Hyunwoo explained. They don't conquer worlds, they consume them completely. No life remains. They've already taken 3 systems beyond your empire's edge. The council chamber erupted in worried conversations. Draz called for silence. If what you say is true, he said slowly, why haven't our scouts detected these? Void? Because they exist partly in another dimension, Min-Ki spoke for the first time. Our scientists discovered them by accident while developing our quantum communication network. Ji-Yoon stepped forward again. The Varaxian Empire has strength in numbers, in military discipline, in courage. Earth has innovation, adaptation, and technology that works with nature rather than against it. Together, we might stand against what's coming. And if we refuse? Draz asked. Then we'll defend ourselves alone, Ji-Yoon answered honestly. And when the Void comes for your worlds after ours, you'll face them without allies. The council fell silent, considering this new reality. For centuries, the Empire had known only conquest. The idea of alliance was foreign, almost frightening. Finally, Draz spoke. Show us. Over the next several hours, the humans demonstrated technologies beyond Varaxian understanding, engines that drew energy from space itself, materials that healed themselves, farming methods that restored planets rather than depleting them. All of this, Ji-Yoon explained, we offer freely. Not as tribute, not as ransom, but as the beginning of something new. As the council session ended, Draz approached the humans privately. His ancient eyes studied them with new respect. In all my years, he said quietly, I never imagined we would meet a species that could defeat us without violence. That is what terrifies my people most about humans, not your weapons or your ships, but your willingness to offer peace when you could claim victory. Ji-Yoon smiled. Fear can begin wars, Counselor Draz. But sometimes, it can also end them. On the journey back to Earth, the humans watched from their ship as the Varaxian fleet formed an honor guard around them, no longer conquerors, but escorts. The first alliance in Varaxian history had begun. And beyond the edges of known space, the Void continued its approach, unaware that its next meal would fight back.